Mr. Speaker, my Lord Chief Justice, Ministers, Deputy Ministers of Government, and honorable members of Parliament, Your Worship, the Mayor of Freetown, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Vice President, Honorable Chief Justice, Ministers of Government, Honorable Members of Parliament, Your Worship, the Mayor of the Municipality of Freetown, Madam First Lady, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we assemble in this great hall that symbolizes our unity in diversity, I ask that we rise and observe a moment of silence for our compatriots and all other citizens of the global community who have succumbed to COVID-19 pandemic. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rest in perfect peace. Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, today's event is taking place in a somber atmosphere. It is observed amidst the ravages of COVID-19, not only in Sierra Leone, but also in the world. That notwithstanding, I'm confident that, like the trials of the immediate past, this period provides yet another opportunity for all Sierra Leoneans, irrespective of religion, ethnicity, region, or origin, to come together for the sake of our common destiny and for the sake of humanity. While this is a prayer and hope that together with the global community we shall combat and eliminate this global pandemic, it is equally my prayer and hope that the opportunity created to and by our coming together will engender us to build a Sierra Leone that works for all of us. I therefore take this opportunity to salute our healthcare workers and all other frontline service providers who are working under challenging circumstances to ensure and assure the safety of their compatriots. May God bless your endeavors. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, a year ago I addressed this August Assembly, outlining progress made, the challenges and plans for the next 1 year. I used that occasion to canvass all Sierra come together to move country to the next level of admiration.
Do hope this sounds small, but
This is simple. Considerable progress has been made. It has placed human capital development at the center of our development imperatives. Million children, including girls, will have equal access to free quality education. Increasing in learning materials, expanded healthcare services, school buses, and free school feeding in some areas. We have commenced preparations for a national dialogue on purposely education essential needs for our future development and competitiveness in the global market. We have strengthened the Sexual Offences Act and introduced tougher penalties for rape and gender-based violence. Rather than a government's policy of inclusive development, we have broadened financial inclusion and social protection for women and vulnerable populations, and we have to put more women at the center of government, security forces, and the justice sector. We have repeated and trained more healthcare workers, built and established more healthcare centers and hospitals, introduced a dedicated means of delivering healthcare service right across the country. While challenges persist, we are expanding our energy access throughout the country, constructing more roads and bridges
at far less cost than before this time. And also providing more water treatment and supply facilities in all areas of the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government has launched the Medium-Term Development Plan, increased domestic revenue mobilization, eased a tax burden on businesses, and introduced business-friendly policies and processes. We are also reviewing agreements and laws that we maximize benefits from our natural resources. Since COVID-19 struck, our Quick Action Economic Recovery Plan has ensured the provision of essential commodities and support for SMEs and vulnerable populations. We have undertaken extensive public sector and governance reforms, including merit-based recruitment of civil servants without regard to tribe, region of origin, or religious beliefs. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we have established a solid foundation for building a stronger and productive Sierra Leone. Economic planning and development. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, our medium-term national development plan for 2019-2023 highlights our integrated commitment to transform the Sierra Leone economy. It is a commitment to deliver on the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals and the 7 aspirations of the African Union Agenda 2063. We have developed monitoring and evaluation mechanisms that will enhance transparency and accountability, and government will strengthen its public performance management and service delivery mechanisms. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we thank our development partners for supporting development financing and service delivery in the country. As a result of our largely productive partnership, we have been able to record some favorable welfare indices and increase our ranking in the United Nations Human Development Index. The economy. The Ministry of Finance continues to implement bold economic policies and public financial management reforms to stabilize the macroeconomic fundamentals, tackle structural impediments, and boost economic activity. Before COVID-19, economic growth had recovered and was increasing at an impressive rate. Inflation had eased down 4 percentage points to 13.9% by the end of 2019, with a projected return to single digits by 2021. Although exchange rates depreciated slightly due to low levels of exports, there is a decrease in the overall budget deficit and an increase in gross international reserves. Government continues to strengthen its fiscal consolidation effort as domestic revenues continue to increase, while expenditure remains within budgetary limits. Tax administration reforms, tax education, monitoring of tax compliance, among other reforms, account for increased domestic revenue. Expenditure control have also helped keep total expenditure within budget. The government has also strengthened judicial oversight of state-owned enterprises and strengthened the management of fiscal risks. The establishment of wages and compensation commission is far advanced, and the draft bill has been submitted to Cabinet for approval. The commission will address equity in pay and compensation, and also harmonize the various compensation laws in the public service. The Minister of Finance has strengthened the internal audit function and has laid the 2020 procurement regulation before Parliament for ratification. In the medium term, government is working on implementing an electronic procurement system. We are now rolling out the automation of PET forms, which will ensure significant reduction in processing time for all MDAs. This automation will augment an electronic funds transfer system that will enable real-time and paperless processing of transactions between the Accountant General's Department and the Bank of Sierra Leone. Digital identity and financial inclusion. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, at the 74th session of the United Nations Assembly in September 2019, I argued the need for a singular, securitized, and serially numbered identification instrument that can be used for governance, development planning, financial inclusion, and human rights imperatives, and also strengthening healthcare planning, health information systems, disease surveillance, and monitor public health interventions and outcomes. It will also support the registration of legal instruments, support national security and public safety, payroll data, teacher and healthcare workers recruitment, and much more. My government has commenced the nationwide exercise of confirming personal details of citizens, resident non-citizens, and the unregistered population of Sierra Leone. The development and maintenance of a permanent civil register will serve as foundation and primary source of information on the population of Sierra Leone. On this note, I will strongly urge every Sierra Leone citizen and non-citizen to cooperate with the National Civil Registration Authority. Social security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, NACID continues to deliver on its mandate of paying out decent pension benefits to members and their dependents. The trust has also invested heavily in real estate, hospitality, and financial sectors of the country. To improve service and delivery and enhance process efficiency, NACID is replacing its current integrated biometric registration system, referred to as NAPOS-2, with a fully functional web-based integrated biometric pension administration system. Free quality education. My government continues to allocate 21% of its recurring budget to the education sector. Working with partners, we have built more classroom blocks and associated facilities. We launched an education innovation challenge launched an innovation challenge, education innovation challenge, to test for creative ideas that will help us improve learning outcomes for basic literacy and numeracy. 5 innovations have been piloted in 170 schools nationwide. This initiative will inform the establishment of a national assessment unit at the Ministry of Basic and Senior Education that will aim at further improving quality in learning outcomes in schools. My government has approved many more schools, recruited and trained more teachers, streamline professional development, teacher attendance monitoring, and grievance redress processing. And we soon launch a teacher registration and licensing program. In compliance with the decentralization drive, we have commissioned all 16 district offices of the Teacher Service Commission. We believe that by increasing our commitment to an investment in teachers, we can increase the quality of education in our country. Tertiary and higher education. 10 technical and vocational institutions are fully operational throughout the country, with curriculum focused on skills training and entrepreneurship education. My government has also secured support from the government of Kuwait to fund the construction of 6 technical and vocational institutes in Falabar, Makeni, African, and Kwani. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm pleased to report that for the 3rd successive year, my government has increased healthcare budget allocation from 7% in 2018 to 10.5% in 2019. And 11% in 2020. We have recruited 2,500 health workers and we'll be hiring 3,000 more in 2020 with a focus on midwives, pharmacists, and pharmacy technicians, epidemiologists, clinical and surgical community health officers. We have instituted continuing education for nursing professionals. We have also reviewed compensation for healthcare workers right across the board. Mr. Speaker, in line with my commitment to establish an ultra-modern diagnostic facility in Sierra Leone, I am pleased to announce to this House that Cabinet has approved $19.8 million United States dollars for the construction of the National Diagnostic and Radiotherapy Cancer Center with all modern facilities. This will substantially reduce costs on our overseas medical expenditure and broaden our access to Sierra Leone. In response to COVID-19 pandemic, My government rapidly activated all emergency operations center pillars. We have instituted international best practices in contact tracing and surveillance. We have deployed science, technology, and innovation in data and call collection, including a telephone-based self-diagnostic tool. Other healthcare directives have helped us largely curtail and protect against large-scale community infection of COVID-19. Social protection. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government's commitment to social protection and expanding opportunity is evident in our sustained social cash transfer to extremely poor households. Livelihood security and financial support through microgrants and loans, providing entrepreneurship, training, and startup capital, youth employment through cash for work programs for vulnerable youth, and peace consolidation through the payment of rehabilitation grants to war widows and victims of sexual violence nationwide, among others. In partnership with the World Bank Financing, we have successfully launched phase 2 of the Social Safety Net project. Social welfare. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the National Task Force for Human Trafficking Secretariat, which is located at the Ministry of Social Welfare, recently secured 2 convictions in the High Court in Sierra Leone. The first ever since the enactment of the Anti-Human Trafficking Act of 2005. The Ministry of Social Welfare is providing psychosocial and reintegration support for returning migrants. My government remains firmly committed to the protection of the child, and 14 of the 16 districts are currently using Child Protection Information Management System to document, report, and provide guidance on preventing and responding to child abuse cases and other related issues. Improving the productivity and commercialization of the agricultural sector. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Mr. Speaker, honorable members. I noted in my last address to this August body that agricultural development continues to occupy a strategic position in the nation's development agenda. It remains a key pillar in the attainment of economic diversification and socio-economic development. Over 60 to 70% of our people depend on some sort of agriculture for their livelihood. We are therefore aware that if we get agriculture right, we will see an immediate multiplier effect in almost every other facet of our development nexus. The Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, with the support from Boosting Agriculture and Food Security Projects, has finalized the development of cocoa, coffee, and cashew policies to support the advancement of green sector. In 2020, government will support the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Defense, as well as the Correctional Services and local countries to establish institutional farms across the country as part of the drive to boost rice production and productivity in order to achieve right self-sufficiency in this country. Another major area of intervention in the agricultural sector is the promotion of animal production, which will improve nutrition and provide increased income for livestock farmers. My government has renovated the Tekwo Central Veterinary Laboratory and equipped trained with modern laboratory facilities for the diagnosis of the majority of the endemic animal diseases prevalent in this country. Improving the productivity and sustainable management of fisheries and marine sector. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government is meeting its commitment in instituting effective fisheries management and governance, meeting sustainable biodiversity and conservation goals, and implementing a long-term viability and management plan. To that end, government has strengthened the policy and regulatory framework through the enactment of the new Fisheries Regulations 2019 and the 2018 Fisheries and Aquaculture Act. This has increased revenue in the sector to an unprecedented 100.5 billion leones. This has increased revenue in the sector to an unprecedented 100.5 billion leones. Government has also developed, validated, and is currently implementing the National Plan of Action to prevent, deter, and eliminate illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. With the support of the government of the People's Republic of China, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources is also conducting a comprehensive fish stock assessment in Sierra Leone for 3 years. Based on precautionary and management principles, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources has for the first time implemented a 1-month closed session for industrial fishing vessels. This conservation measure is part of the management plan contributing to the rebuilding of declining fish stocks. Government has improved the monitoring, control, and surveillance of our territorial waters and continue to monitor all licensed fishing vessels through an upgraded 24-hour vessel monitoring system and the automated identification system. We have effectively engaged the EU Directorate General for Health and Food Safety in order to facilitate the export of fish and fishing products. At the local level, government with the support from partners has commissioned improved smoke ovens, raised platforms, cold rooms, and wash facilities for various fishing and other communities right across the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government has identified tourism as one of the clusters for increasing national revenue and job creation, and for achieving economic diversification. To compete as a unique and attractive tourist destination, we have proclaimed new heritage sites, restored existing sites, constructed jetties at riverine sites, and declared several natural and cultural assets as protected areas, sites, and property. An ultra-modern entertainment complex will soon be constructed to showcase the talent of our artists. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, do we agree that the recent finish line for the Budapest Bamako Freight Rally, coupled with increased tourist arrival, is sufficient indication that the perception of Sierra Leone as a tourist destination is changing for the better. Oil and gas exploration. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Even the oil and gas industry is experiencing, even though the oil and gas industry is experiencing its worst recession in recent history, the Petroleum Directorate ran a robust licensing round for Sierra Leone's open shore acreage. The process, which attracted 6 international oil and gas companies, was commended by the international oil and gas industry as open, transparent, and credible. Two companies, Gas Energy and Innocent Oil and Gas, were selected and awarded provisional petrol license. After meeting the technical, financial, and commercial requirements set out for the issuance of exploration license for operating in Sierra Leone's deep water basin. My government will continue working to optimize Sierra Leone's oil and gas potential. Management of mineral resources. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I am pleased to report that Sierra Leone has completed its first ever nationwide airborne geophysical survey that has provided I'm pleased to report that Sierra Leone has completed its first ever nationwide airborne geophysical survey that has provided high-resolution airborne magnetic and radiometric data. Supported with funds from the World Bank, Sierra Leone has also formulated a comprehensive geodata management policy that has been adopted by Cabinet. The Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources, in collaboration with the National Minerals Agency, has also reviewed standard procedures for all negotiations and agreements between mineral rights holders and local communities through a model community development agreement. More artisanal licenses have been issued with the impact of increased productivity and employment. In addition to large-scale mining licenses granted, it is expected that operational mines will provide jobs for over 15,000 Israelis by the end of 2020. Overall, we are now formulating the Mines and Minerals Development Act 2020. The new act contains strong provisions for local content, community benefit, value addition, and other linkages to the mining sector. Establishment of metals and precious minerals training houses, artisanal mining areas, development scheme, and even more.
God bless you.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the current energy access at 18%, my government will pursue its overall policy objective of providing adequate, affordable, and sustainable power supply nationwide to stimulate economic development through the consolidation, improvement, and expansion of existing and potential energy supply infrastructure. With the support of the World Bank under the Energy Sector Utility Reform Project, government is improving the transmission and distribution network in Freetown and Ite Baron and rehabilitating 5 substations in Brookfields, Congo Cross, King Tom, Lumley, and Blackwell Road. Of these substations, 3 are already completed. The 11 kV overhead lines and the old ring main unit, which contributed greatly to line losses, are being replaced. The erection of poles to link these substations is also underway. The completion of this project will improve network stability and reduce technical losses in Freetown. The funding from the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development and my government, the 6 megawatts Freetown Solar Park project at Newton is at an advanced stage of construction and is expected to be commissioned in September 2020. Similarly, with joint funding from the Department of International Development, UK, and African Development Bank, government has recently launched projects to rehabilitate, improve, and expand the transmission and distribution networks in the townships of Bo and Kenema. The project will replace the aging distribution network in these cities and also upgrade the 33 kV line between Bo and Kenema to a 66 kV line for the evacuation of power from the CLSP substation at Teloma and Kenema. The completion of this project will help connect the main community along the Bo-Kenema Highway. Lama, Jebe, Bawa Station, under the regional electrification project, 3 CLSG substations, 3 CLSG substations have been completed in Teloma, Kenema, Bitongo substation at Bumbe, Ikono, and Bumbuna. Construction of the remaining 2 substations at Fadugu, Kamakwe is ongoing. The CLSG project will also connect 39 rural communities from 7 districts along the Transco line under the rural electrification components of the CLSG. Government is also finalizing arrangements with the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank Group to establish the floating storage regasification unit terminal at the Freetown Harbour. This terminal will serve both domestic and regional markets for gas supply to potential users of LNG for power generation at a cheaper rate. Similarly, government is currently negotiating with a Chinese firm called Sino Hydro for the development, construction, and commissioning of 160 megawatts hydro at the Big Congo in Kono district. With a surplus of 78 million United States dollars, the Exim Bank of India, we are committed to the construction of 225 kV transmission line of 235 kilometers and 66 kV transmission line of about 90 kilometers from Yiben in Buenadugu. The purpose of this project is to evacuate power from the Transco line to the western area. And with funding from BP, government is currently implementing the delivery project in Sierra Leone. Solar PV panels have been installed in 2 to 4 communities across the country. Under Work Package 1. And homes are now being connected. Poles and cables are also being installed in 44 additional communities across the country under Work Package 2 of the same project. This project will electrify up to 98 rural communities across the country, which will help increase our energy access in line with Goal 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals. I am pleased to announce that government has received grant funding from the African Union for the electrification of the Jala University and its surrounding community. With the hybrid power system of solar PV, mini grid, and mini hydro. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government remains committed to implementing a national vehicle fleet policy, developing a secure roadworthy test regime and government-registered vehicle database, producing a master plan for ports and harbors throughout the country, exploring multimodal transport system, improving air travel, and providing reliable and attractive public transportation system with all relevant infrastructure to ease movement across the capital city, Freetown, and the rest of the country. My government has started implementing the Integrated Resilient Urban Mobility Project, a $50 million project that will provide buses, bus terminals, dedicated bus routes, and significantly improve service quality and travel experience for commuters in Freetown. My government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Regional Marine University in Ghana to facilitate capacity building, skill training, and other relevant technical activities. The environment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government is committed to protecting the environment. Specifically, the policy actions we are pursuing include effective environmental governance, managing forest resources, ecosystem conservation, and environmental education, water infrastructure systems. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there is an urgent need to review the 2010 National Water and Sanitation Act in order to align it with the outcomes and indicators set out in the Sustainable Development Goal 6. The draft review policy has been developed and stakeholder consultations will soon be concluded. The policy will also finalize and introduced this year to guide interventions in the water and sanitation sector. 8 water regulations have been developed and laid before Parliament and are now maturing into law. Pursuant to government's commitment to monitor and regulate our water resources, the National Water Resource Management Agency, which was set up by the Act of Parliament in 2017, is now fully operational with appreciable staff complement and a 5-year strategic plan has been developed. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government is pursuing action to ensure improved water supply across the country. Government has provided funding for the reconstruction of water supply systems in 6 district headquarter towns: Moyamba, Kuchen, Thailand, Kabala, Gambia, and Adoka. Government has provided funding for and will still commence work on the reconstruction of the bulk water supply system. In the medium term, DFID has funded feasibility studies and detailed design on the rehabilitation of the Guma Dam the water treatment plant, transmission network, leakage management for distribution network, Spur Road pumping station, extension of the distribution network, and refurbishment of the Arlington water supply system. The World Bank has also funded the Freetown Emergency Recovery Project that will rehabilitate the water treatment plant at the Babadori Dam region and the laying of 4-kilometer distribution network in communities close to the mudslide area of Motromen. The government of Sierra Leone has solely funded the Lonely Aberdeen Beach Road Water Supply Improvement Project, which provides service connection to recreational centers and businesses along the beach. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, funding has been secured from the African Development Bank and other partners for improvement of the water supply infrastructure in Freetown for increased access to sustainable water supply, sanitation services, and hygiene. This project will also develop water sources in all small catchment areas along the Western Peninsula for domestic use. Additionally, a pilot project is being implemented in some and other villages, which will isolate and look at these two settlements to determine and understand revenue loss or gain from the water supply network. Lessons learned from this pilot project will be applied to other areas of the city. Reconstruction of water supply systems in both Kenny and McKinney is nearing completion. Residents are already accessing water from these systems. However, very few households are connected to the system. Sawako is currently accelerating service connections in the 3 towns. This project is scheduled for commissioning this year. Government has also completed 406 armed wells, 125 boreholes, 22 rainwater harvesting systems, 301 public sanitation facilities, 200 rain gauging stations, and 24 surface and groundwater monitoring stations across 6 districts: Bonadugu, Calabar, Kono, Cambia, Ujani, and Bom. Additionally, government has rehabilitated 1,100 water points and currently reconstructing 15 gravity flow water supply schemes. Government has made significant investment in washing schools and health facilities nationwide. Guma and Sawako are aiming at increasing access to water in health facilities at TP health facilities from 65 to 75% and washing school interventions in about 100 schools. Information and communication technology. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, my government acknowledges the role of media in enhancing participatory democratic governance. Journalists should hold government accountable in a responsible and professional manner. To that end, government is firmly committed to repealing the criminal libel law. Government will also continue its subvention to Sierra Leone Association of Journalists and to support the professional development of its membership. The Ministry of Information and Communication, in collaboration with the Ministry of Lands and Country Planning, will provide land in the capital for the construction of an ultra-modern office facility for flags. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Ministry of Information and Communication has also put together a draft policy that will cover public records and judicial records, and all public entities of the Republic of Sierra Leone that are subject to the Public Archives Act of 1965, as amended in 2015. The records management policy will provide an overarching framework of accountability and responsibility for managing public records according to acceptable standards. Ministry of Information has also put together a draft film policy that seeks to facilitate the sustained development of the Sierra Leone film industry to meet international standards. I'm pleased to announce that the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, SLBC, has extended coverage targeting 10 community radio stations in rural communities. To complement SLBC coverage in some areas, including Calabar District. We are bringing the government closer to its citizens through monthly outreach activities, including town hall meetings, district regional press briefings, and media engagements at community level. Technology and innovation. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Directorate of Science and Technology and Innovation was established to use science, technology, and innovation to support the government of Sierra Leone to deliver effectively and efficiently on its national development plan and to help transform Sierra Leone into an innovation and entrepreneurship hub. 1 year after its launch in October 2018, the team at DSTI has led and implemented projects that provide data that informs or drives policy and support government service delivery. DSTI's work has promoted global partnership ecosystem, strengthening data collection and analysis, and has produced a national innovation and digitalization strategy. Among DSTI's many achievements are a free quality education data hub, the government of Sierra Leone USSD service, a human capital development incubator, an integrated DRS solution for the government of Sierra Leone, the electronics expenditure management system, the national drone corridor, the governance digitization initiative, ease of doing business tracker, and an economic data analytics tool. Clearly, the impact of all of these on various sectors of governance, service delivery, the economy, and private sector growth has been transformative. With respect to COVID-19 pandemic, DSTI has been fully embedded in the Emergency Operations Center in providing technology solutions, including the e-passes, the situation room, and various information management systems. Fostering private sector growth and manufacturing. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government is committed to upscaling Sierra Leone's performance at doing business reforms. Government has set up a technical committee comprising policymakers and development partners. The tracker tool has been implemented to help the government monitor the implementation of investment climate reforms. There is also focused cross-ministry and cross-sectional work on improving benchmarks, whether in the areas of demurrage tax holidays and weekends, and downward review of duties on essential commodities. Additionally, government intends to engage the Chamber of Commerce on the need to restructure the private sector and also accelerate work on automating business systems and processes. My government has identified sustainable entrepreneurship development as a key driver of the economy. The Ministry of Trade and Industry will further seek to explore the benefits of market access and linkages provided for in trade agreements, including the African Growth and Opportunity Act of the United States and the new African Continental Free Trade Agreement. To that end, the AGOA response strategy, the Made in Sierra Leone strategy, the SME strategy, and the National Trade Facilitation Strategy have been deployed. I am pleased to announce that Sonoco, a Guinean-based company, is targeting to invest $20 million United States dollars in establishing a flour mill in Sierra Leone. Flour mill in Sierra Leone with a capacity of 2,500 metric tons a day. They also have a long-term goal of setting up a factory to manufacture machinery for baking. We will simplify border procedures in collaboration with neighboring countries in order to facilitate cross-border trade in basic commodities up to products by emerging tech-based companies. The Manual Labor Union is a niche market of 45 million people. We will utilize this niche for the benefit of our people. With regard to the regulatory environment, government has launched a corporate governance code and ratified the African Continental Free Trade Area. Cabinet has also approved the National Trade Facilitation Committee. My government is currently reviewing relevant regulations to facilitate business and maximize our competitiveness in doing business. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government engaged a representative stakeholder group at the Bintu Monetary Conference. The communique called for the establishment of a national commission for peace and national cohesion in Sierra Leone. Citizens' engagement is underway and a draft bill will be tabled for the establishment of the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. Fighting corruption and illicit financial flow. Because Speaker, honorable members, our fight against corruption will be sustained because it is good governance. It is good for business and for the image of our country. Sierra Leone continues to perform exceptionally well in all global scorecards. We have passed the Millennium Challenge Corporation indicator for corruption from 49% when I assumed office to 71 at the end of 2020. And a further 79 in 2019. Today, Sierra Leone is one of the top 10 performers in the lower income countries scored. The Transparency International Global Corruption Ranking Report 2019, published early this year, has seen Sierra Leone register its highest ever score since the establishment of the Global Corruption Perception Survey. We have similarly continued to do remarkably well in other global corruption perception indices like Afrobarometer, the Mo Ibrahim Index, and Freedom House.
Amen.
The Anti-Corruption Commission continues to pursue corruption investigations vigorously with a very high conviction rate. It has also recovered nearly 21 billion in the past 18 months. Under a non-conviction asset-based recovery under my leadership. In 2019, the Commission recorded recoveries of total over 11 billion euros. This is more than the total sum ever recovered by the ACC in a single year, and I think this is the previous highest recovery in 2018, again under my leadership. These total recoveries within a period of less than 2 years remain higher than all recoveries ever made by ACC in its entire 18-year existence. The Speaker, honorable members, in fulfillment of the declaration I made in this Parliament during the State Opening of Parliament in 2018, a special division of the High Court has been established to try corruption cases, and 5 dedicated judges have been assigned by the Honorable Chief Justice to hear and speedily dispose of corruption cases. I am grateful to Parliament for supporting my call to make corruption the high risk and low return venture, and for passing the Anti-Corruption Amendment Act 2019, to which I quickly assented. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Sierra Leone remains fully committed to its national and international obligations to interdict illicit financial flow in all sectors, and we continue to support the work of Audit Sierra Leone. Is verifying and attesting reports submitted by government agencies in the EITI process. In addition, my government will continue its strong support for the full scope of work of Audit Sierra Leone as part of its accountability framework. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, public safety is a necessity for peace, stability, and governance. My government has invested in strengthening the capacity of the Ministry of Internal Affairs by establishing and supporting institutions, procedures, and policies critical to the success of its mission. We have improved the accountability framework for the various directorates and service delivery institutions of the Sierra Leone Police, and we are committed to the institution of the Coroner's Office. Defense. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I remain fully committed to improving the general welfare of servicemen and women of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. With the support of the Government of the People's Republic of China, the reconstruction of the state-of-the-art Mayon Officers' Mess that includes a 104-bedroom single officers' mess is underway. Plans are also underway to construct appropriate housing and billets for young soldiers. The government has also approved the procurement of appropriate peacekeeping equipment to enable our troops to participate in the United Nations and African Union peacekeeping and peace support operations. Government will support the Armed Forces Agricultural Unit with machinery and training to enable ASLA to support land irrigation activities and also produce sufficient food to feed itself. We will establish a full-scale Army Engineers Unit to not only enhance the combat engineering capacity of ASLA, but also to equally compete for bids for civil engineering projects for killer roles that enable farmers to bring their products to market. Additionally, we will expand the mandate of the Armed Forces Technical Education College to integrate a teaching core and restructure and establish an expanded general medical service at formation level to provide quality medical services to services personnel, their dependents, and wider communities. This will require the targeted recruitment of trained and qualified health service providers. Inclusion and accountable justice institutions. Government will promote inclusive, equal, accessible, and accountable justice institutions and practices. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government believes that the National Decentralization Act 2010 and the Local Government Act 2004 will be reviewed to reflect the development aspirations of Sierra Leone. Accordingly, we have commenced work on reviewing relevant laws and policy documents. This will include resuscitating and pursuing work on the National Constitutional Review process. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government sees young people as key drivers of development. We regard youth as partners today and leaders tomorrow. Government has therefore increased the participation of young people in decision-making processes and leadership roles. To that end, my government has established 190 chiefdom and 16 district youth councils nationwide. Government has developed capacity and entrepreneurship space with a skills development project and skills development component, a graduate internship program, youth demonstration bank, youth business group, and the setting up of the youth entrepreneurship and employment project. Government has also established opportunities for thousands of youth with the construction of car wash centers, youth farms, fishing projects, and youth service centers. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government reactivated football after years in limbo. After so many years in limbo, and committed 3.5 billion in startup funding. The Premier League generated employment and revenue in excess of 1.7 billion. The National Sports Authority is mandated to develop sports in Sierra Leone, is now fully constituted. Government also support the ZIZO under 14 club as it participated in Spain in 2019. Our teams also participated at the All African Games in Rabat and the West African Football Union for men and women. Several national sporting opportunities in football and volleyball have been activated. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my government has focused on strengthening external relations and heightening Sierra Leone's integration into the global arena as a viable and respectable partner. It is a foreign policy outline aimed at ensuring the realization of our core national interests, whilst reaffirming our commitment to continue serving as a credible member of the international community. We will build and strengthen our bilateral relations as well as fully recognize and participate in multilateral institutions. Expanding our presence abroad is a pivotal element of our national development plan. My government has established an embassy in Turkey, and preparations are in progress to do the same in Morocco, as well as the open embassy in France. In the same vein, India, United Arab Emirates, Iceland, have communicated their interest to establish embassies in Sierra Leone. As part of the expansion, the ministry has redefined the relationship with consuls and facilitated the appointment of global icons as brand ambassadors to further external relations. My government continues to amplify its presence at the multilateral platform, but most importantly, heightened engagement in the reform of the United Nations Security Council. As coordinator of the Committee of 10 Heads of State and Government, the ministry organized what has been termed as the most successful C10 ministerial meeting in Dakar, Senegal, in January this year. This meeting, which brought about 7 out of 10 ministers of foreign affairs of the C10 member countries, was acclaimed as the most participatory meeting and a grand success. My peers across the continent have inundated me and my team with congratulatory messages for hosting a successful international conference and for providing quality leadership in canvassing the common African position in the reform process. At other multilateral platforms, my government launched the Sierra Leone Work Out of Fragility Initiative on the margins of the high-level political forum in New York in July 2019. The objective is to transform Sierra Leone into a strong middle-income country where peace is guaranteed, democracy is reversible, and growth is sustained in spite of shocks from global economic crisis, disease outbreaks, and natural disasters. The ministry is now in the process of facilitating the enactment of a foreign service law, which gives it the latitude to significantly improve and sustain the quality of foreign representation and service delivery. This law will provide the legal provisions for the establishment of diplomatic academy. Already, I'm pleased to announce that the establishment of the state-of-the-art training facility for our foreign service has received cabinet approval and construction is in progress. The welfare of Sierra Leoneans living abroad is central in my administration. Apart from general assistance provided by the ministry, specific support, including but not limited to repatriation, as and when required, is also extended by our embassies and missions. In view of the adversities around the unique circumstances in which we find ourselves today as a nation, I wish to inform Mr. Speaker, honorable members, that a fuller version of my statements today will be tabled in this August body. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as a way of conclusion, let me appeal to will the best in us for making Sierra Leone what it ought to be. Let us be focused and stay energized in a national need to make Sierra Leone better. Let us embrace peace and lend our unconditional support to ensuring that we leave behind the dark days of strife and hatred. Let us love one another and translate that love into serving our country. Together, let us be a Sierra Leone that works for us all and for humanity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, That God will guide and bless our best endeavors.
Amen.
God bless the Republic of Radio, the land that we love. Thank you.
Thank you.